You mentioned earlier that it's important to become smart information consumers. Do you think it's important for people to use various medium to get information on the same story? And if yes, how and why, and how can they do that?
So we're just talking about politics at this point, is that right?
Yes.
I don't know that anyone, I mean, I think probably only, thoughtful, like, critics and theorists that are studying this kind of stuff would actually be aware of that, of the changes that are happening to the message over the different mediums. I would think, in fact, what it would be for people that were using them is I think that they have a different relationship because different mediums either amplify or suppress certain aspects of a message. So, for instance, maybe they see something on a Twitter feed that then makes them go to the internet to find out a little more about the story, and then once they see the story, then they go to blogs to get some analysis of the story.
Yep.
This is actually a very typical, I'm actually not just making this up, this is actually kind of a typical arc that seems to happen from just my own sort of rudimentary studies, is that someone will get a piece of information, and it doesn't even have to be Twitter. It can be like in a cafe in the background on a TV or something. So they hear about something, whatever it is, and then they go and find on the very most superficial level through whatever it is, whether it's the news or the newspaper or website, and then they go from that into these more sort of detailed things, whether it's user groups or blogs or something like that, to get as much information as they can. And through that, what ends up happening is there's a meme that's created. You know this idea of a meme, right?
No, I'm not familiar with it.
So a meme is basically it's actually social Darwinism. It's kind of related to a gene, but the whole idea with a meme is that it's a cultural piece of information that, very much like a virus, knows how to replicate itself. So what happens is we have a meme that starts off, and then it begins to replicate itself, and then you'll have this feedback loop, and this is kind of what happens with viral videos too, to where then it'll start showing up in other media. So to use an example, whenever there was the big financial meltdown back in late last year, a meme that was trying to get its feet going was a meme that said that actually Jimmy Carter was responsible for the financial meltdown. And what happened was you started seeing all these people saying, oh, Jimmy Carter is responsible for this. It's this one piece of legislation that he signed, and that's the reason we're in all this trouble right now. And it kept trying to get started, and you'd see all of it, sudden it would show up. It would show up on Fox News. It would sometimes show up on CNN in passing. It would show up on blogs. It would show up in, my crazy uncle from the small town in Texas would send it to me in one of his, weird anti-abortion email screeds that he sends out every once in a while to everyone. And like when I kind of use him as kind of a barometer of a certain segment of culture, because it's like when it comes to him, then I know it's really kind of hit the masses,
Right.
And so, in a way, like these memes start to perpetuate themselves. So then, all of a sudden, you'll hear something that happened like that, and then you'll pick up the Chicago Tribune, and you'll see a letter to the editor where they say, well, the reason this is happening is because of Jimmy Carter. And, of course, these people don't know anything about Jimmy Carter or what this piece of legislation is or why it would even be relevant or what else would even be involved. But they've, picked up the meme, and they're replicating the meme. And then that meme then goes, and, again, this is that tribalism thing, or what did you call it? You called it selective bias. And then from there it goes down into everyone reading the Chicago Tribune, to where then when they're having Thanksgiving dinner with their family, they say, well, the whole financial problem actually goes back to Jimmy Carter.
Right.
That's the ironic thing, is in terms of Susan Boyle in viral videos, everyone thinks, well, this is such a bunch of, and this is what I kept getting when I was teaching this viral video class. Everyone said, oh, this is pointless. Who cares about this stuff? This is like a bunch of juvenile people, doing pranks over the internet. But in this instance, it's deadly serious.
Definitely. Well, Professor Patrick, thank you so much for all of your time.